Hello, and thank you for joining us for a Backstage Pass to Pensacola Opera's 37th season. I'm your host, Don Ruth, and I'm joined today by Jerry Shannon, who is the Artistic Director for the Pensacola Opera. Jerry, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about the 37th season of Opera in Pensacola.
Sure, happy to be here.
So you are bringing Mozart's operatic masterpiece, Don Giovanni, to the Saenger Theater on January 24th and 26th, and I understand that this is a stunning new production, so tell us about that.
Well, it is indeed, and it's very unusual in that the production itself is created out of paper. Finland Lamb, who was a very fine mezzo-soprano, has now transitioned from an on-stage performance career to creating these productions. She's a wonderful stage director and has assembled a team of creative artists that work with her to create scenery, furniture, and costumes out of paper.
Wow.
And you wonder what that can look like, but I'll tell you, if anyone wants to see and go to Paper Moon Opera Productions, they will see the company's website, and they have a beautiful production of Hansel and Gretel. They've been working on La Boheme, Carmen. It's incredible how beautifully the paper takes color and light.
Right, so it's a classic opera, but really reinvented with this production.
Well, you know, who was it? Rudolph Bing, who was the general manager of the Metropolitan Opera for years, once said, I must find new frames for great masterpieces. And Giovanni is a masterpiece of the operatic world. And this is a new frame for it. We're moving it up into the Art Deco period, so we're moving it away from Spain. And so we're really trying to give it a new life, have a new look for our audience, and this idea of using paper, I think, was so intriguing. Even for the costumes, the women's costumes will be in muslin, but then have paper crafted over them.
Wow, sounds very interesting.
I think it's going to be quite beautiful.
Yes, absolutely. So for those who aren't familiar with Don Giovanni, can you give us a little synopsis of the opera?
Well, how much time do you have? I can. If anyone knows of Don Juan, it's sort of that Lothario, that legendary man who is always on the make for another conquest.
Sure.
This is his story. And we find him on what is probably the worst day of his life and will lead to the last day of his life. So we see him at the end of a long life of debauchery. And what happens is in the very beginning, he makes the mistake of murdering the father of a young girl. And then the rest of the opera is trying to find out who murdered this man. He continually is in disguise. He's also after other women in the opera. And finally, this comes on to where this father, who was murdered in the first scene, has been memorialized in a statue, and Giovanni sees it and makes fun of him, and the statue comes to life and invites him to dinner. And he agrees to come. And in the end, Giovanni is given the opportunity to repent, but he will not. And the statue drags him down to hell to pay for his life.
Wow.
In a nutshell, that's it. There's a lot more going on.
Sure.
But,
so we do join him on his worst day.
We see him on what is going to be, he doesn't know it yet.
Right.
But it really is a morality play. And we see, I mean, as you sow, so shall ye reap. And he's led a life of terrible treatment to women, and in the end, pays for it.
One of the many benefits of having an opera here in Pensacola is Pensacola audience will get to see the type of talent that is all around the country.
Right.
And I know you travel up to New York every year, hold numerous auditions throughout the year, finding the best and brightest talents. Can you tell us about some of the key roles and key players?
The title role of Don Giovanni is going to be sung by Corey McKern, a wonderful American baritone who was sung all over the world. And one of the most amazing things is that we are very lucky that he makes his home in Pensacola.
Nice.
He loves the weather, he loves to play golf, and he loves being in Pensacola, so we're very lucky. that he's here and will sing the title role of Giovanni. Now, his Anna is Sarah Tucker, a wonderful young soprano who's singing in all of the regional houses in this country. His Leporello, his valet, will be Colin Ramsey, a young bass who is just this impressive sound out from the West Coast. We'll also have one of our young artists returning in a main stage role, which we're so proud of. Our Young Artist program, I think now in our 14th, 15th year. And we love it when we graduate a set, and then one of them we say, come back and be with us. And that is Andrea Baker, and she will sing the role of Elvira, one of Don Giovanni's ex-conquests that has come to find him. I think also we have wonderful David Blaylock, fine American tenor, as Don Ottavio. And then we have two of our young artists also featured, our current young artists, as two supporting characters, Masetto and Zerlina, two peasant people that live in the village.
So it sounds like a great cast for this production.
Well, I think what's really amazing is that for Pensacola opera prices, you can see talent that you would see in any other opera house in this world, or if you happen to be in Hong Kong when Corey was just there singing Madame Butterfly, you would have seen him there. Actually, you can see him here in your own hometown.
And I'm sure at a better ticket price.
At a discounted rate, exactly.
Excellent. Well, speaking of tickets, how do people go about purchasing tickets for the opera, and is there a discount if they get a subscription? Tell us about that.
Well, a subscription is where you say, I'm going to come and see these two operas on this night or this afternoon, and we say that's great, and we'll give you the same seats, which you'll like very much, and we'll also give you, I think it's a 25% discount.
That's really good.
So just for agreeing to come to both operas, you'll know where you're going to sit. You know your seat mates. Everybody sort of joins a little community there. People who have been sitting in seats for years and years have formed friendships with their seat mates. And you get that discount. I think you also get complimentary parking in the parking garage. So there are a lot of nice amenities
benefits
that we do for a season subscriber who's going to come to see both Il Trovatore and Don Giovanni. You can also buy single ticket if you would prefer. Now, all of that's available through the website, PensacolaOpera.com, imagine. There is a Facebook page, of course, Pensacola Opera. I believe we have an Instagram account. I don't gram myself, I don't do, but I understand we have that. And then, of course, if you would like to speak to a human being, you can actually call the office. And I can give the number if you'd like.
Do it.
850-433-6737.
Great.
And anybody there would be happy to speak with you about joining us.
That's great. In addition to the main stage productions, you have a selection of opera-related events surrounding the operas. Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, with every time we do the main stage operas, we like to allow the community to meet the artist and to also become a part of the whole excitement of opening the production, and especially with Don Giovanni, which is a world premiere of this production. The Meet the Artist Luncheon is about a week and a half before we open. So that'll be on Tuesday, January 14th at 11:30 a.m. And that's at Scopolo's at New World. And there you'll have a chance to hear the story of the opera. You have a sit-down lunch. You will meet the stars of Don Giovanni who will be there. You will hear musical excerpts sung by our artist in residence. And it's a wonderful little mid-morning into the lunch hour. And I think that's only $30.
Great. And a good introduction to
wonderful. Sure. If you don't know the story or you don't know the music, you want to hear the music of Mozart, and then be sure to purchase your ticket. But I think that's a nice Meet the Artist event. You get a chance to see them. And then, of course, there is the opening night reception. After you've seen the Meet the Artist, you come to see us on opening night. Stay with us for the party. That's after opening night. That's upstairs at the Sanger. I think, is that $50? I think for that. And then we also have the artistic director champagne brunch.
Always a favorite with the crowd.
I'll tell you, over at Jackson's, it's wonderful. People enjoy that so much. We often sell that out, if not sell it out. That's on that Sunday before the matinee, on the 26th, at about 11 o'clock or so.
11:45.
11:45.
And you still give a little talk
and
at that
I'll
as
come
well.
over and talk to both rooms about what you're about to see and let you in on any backstage things that you might want to know, so you get a little special insight into how the production has been going. And I would imagine that with this one, with creating so much of it here, we'll have a lot of stories to talk about.
Nice, very good. So for first-time opera goers, I understand there's a lot going on in addition to these events there at the theater that are free, that they can take advantage of when they come to see the opera.
Well, what we tried to do is truly make it as welcoming as possible, and also as friendly and a great social environment.
Sure.
We found when we attend our National Opera America conventions, when we talk to our fellow opera wizards, around the country, and people really want to have a social event. They want to meet people. They want to have a good time. So we took the upstairs area at the center. We opened another bar.
Right.
So that'll always get.
That's excellent.
Hopefully, will encourage people to have a good time. You can have your picture taken. There's a step and repeat there. Right. Often we'll have sort of a contest going that somebody can enter. So we try to make it interactive, entertaining, so you can get to the theater, relax, have an adult beverage if you like, and then enjoy the show.
Wonderful. And then there's also a talk prior to the performance as well that is free of charge.
Absolutely. Every ticket holder can come and hear our Director of Education, Cody Martin, give about a 30-minute talk about the opera, about the history of the opera, what we're going to see, about this production. We'll hear some musical excerpts. And that lets us really know what we're going to see that evening, gets us in the mood.
Great. And once they have their ticket in the door, they don't need a ticket for that talk? It's free? They can just come in and...
Once you have a ticket to the opera, you're immediately invited and welcome to join us for the pre-opera talk.
That's great. Pensacola Opera takes opera beyond the stage and into the community as well. Tell us about the upcoming events. I know there's a Pours and Encore event and a Brown Bag Opera.
Indeed. And Pours and Encores is, I think, just sort of a fancy name for let's all hang out at the bar and drink and sing.
Hey,
and
it works.
As I say, the more you drink, the better we sound.
There you go.
The first one we have coming up is at Odd Colony. I want to say that it's January 7th at 5:30, free event. Our artists in residence will be there singing. And I think, isn't this sort of a Disney-centric, I think, theme?
I believe so,
We're going to be singing music of Disney.
Excellent.
And so that will be fun. And then the Brown Bag Opera happens in the Opera Center on Tarragona Street, right here downtown. And that is a free noontime recital. This one will be right after Don Giovanni, I think on the 28th, on that Tuesday. And you bring your lunch, and you'll hear about a 30 to 40-minute recital given by the artist in residence, who will sing art songs. They can sing opera arias. They'll sing musical theater pieces. But it's a chance just to have that intimate experience and to hear them sing.
And what I think is so nice is in addition to the main stage productions, these are two events that first-time opera goers or long-time opera goers can come, and it's free of charge as part of your community outreach.
Well, we have a big commitment to community engagement and going out and being part of the community and not asking, not always saying come to us in the big theater. We'll come out to you in a bar or in a library or a community center or an assisted living center. We'll come out to you and let's share the love of singing and of the human voice. And one thing that I think is very nice about the Brown Bag recital series is that you're in this small room with this very powerful human instrument. Right there, we can almost touch it. And you really discover the power of the human voice.
When the hairs start standing.
Yeah, you start getting the back of the neck.
Well, I want to talk more about the Easy to Love concert when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
With friends.
By learning something new.
Experimentally.
Traditionally.
For the first time.
Welcome back to a Backstage Pass of the 37th season of the Pensacola Opera. I'm Don Ruth, joined by Jerry Shannon, Artistic Director. Jerry, before the break, we were talking about Don Giovanni and that production coming up, but I know you also have this season an add-on, and this is a one-night-only concert at the Sanger Theater that was very popular last year, coming back, called Easy to Love on the 13th of February. Tell us about that concert.
Well, I think you've said it all. What more is there? It is exactly that, a special one-night concert. It features our 4 artists in residence in the solo roles, and we'll have the opera chorus, we'll have the children's chorus with us, we'll have the Pensacola Symphony on the stage. And this year we are featuring, along with the music of Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein. Of course, we'll do Rodgers and Hammerstein. We'll also do a little bit of Rodgers and Hart, which was a collaboration before Hammerstein. And then we'll also bring in music of Jerome Kern, the great grandfather of the American musical, and as well Cole Porter. So we're varying the musical palette just a little bit, but all familiar music from musicals that you know and love. And we'll have combinations of the duets and the trios and the chorus and the children's chorus. So just a great night of beautiful music, but one night only. And like you said, last year's was very popular. So we're encouraging people to buy early, and only 2 ticket prices, $50 or $25. A great price.
Absolutely.
Am I correct in that?
Yes.
Yeah.
What a great price for Valentine's Day out.
And also, you know, start the weekend of love early with, you go to the concert on Thursday, have a great dinner on Friday, whatever. But it is a great start to the Valentine's weekend. And I just can't imagine anything more fun than just going and hearing these incredibly talented young singers sing this music that really benefits so much by their operatically trained voices. And when you hear them sing music from Oklahoma and South Pacific, it's just like, oh, it takes you back to the time of the 1940s.
And what a great entry point for those who maybe haven't been to an opera but are interested in music.
If you're what we would call an opera rookie, then yeah, this would be a great introduction just to coming to the theater, see the beautiful Sanger Theater, hear the orchestra, the singing, a great night out.
Right. And also on that night, on February 13th, there is a dinner at the Pensacola Opera Center called That's Amore.
That's Amore.
And what can we expect from that?
Well, I think that's a wonderful buffet dinner, and this year catered by Culinary Productions. Wonderful food.
Absolutely.
And you can come there and have a wonderful dinner and then actually walk to the Sanger. I mean, we're like, what, a block and a half away from the Sanger, and then go over and enjoy the concert. And I believe then come upstairs for some complimentary desserts and champagne. I believe.
Yes, upstairs at the Sanger Theater. A great night, $25 or $50 for your Easy to Love ticket, and then of course that dinner there at the Opera Center is $50, and that will sell out. It sold out last year.
That sold out last year, right.
Yeah, so you definitely want to get your tickets on that. So where can people find out more information about Don Giovanni, the Easy to Love, and the rest of the 37th season?
Well, the opera, the website is the place to go, and PensacolaOpera.com. And you'll find everything we're doing. You'll find all of the outreach events, all the engagement events, find out what the young artists are doing, what the main stage is doing. And as well, we have a Facebook page, and I think it's just Pensacola Opera, and the Instagram account. I don't know whether we Twitter, or do you know about that? Are you?
I think we Twitter a little.
Do we tweet?
And for those that actually want to speak to someone, they can call the office at 433-6737 and get more information. I do want to talk about the How Do You Opera campaign, because I think this was, you've touched on it, you've thrown out Opera Rookie. Tell us a little bit about that campaign.
Well, this was an idea that was sort of staff-driven and then really made beautiful by our previous director of marketing, Kristen Stoltz. And now it has been taken over by our current director of marketing, Molly Williams, who has also trimmed it and fine-tuned it. And now we have these 4 separate categories that and the idea is, how do you opera? Are you opera bold? Do you only want to see dramatic productions, like an Il Trovatore?
Sure.
Do you like that sort of an experience? Are you an opera classic? You know opera, you love it, you just can't get enough of the beloved titles like Don Giovanni and what we present on the main stage. I also like the opera rookie, mentioned that about trying opera out, dipping a toe into this area of entertainment. And we have many things for you, like the Easy to Love concert, also the Brown Bag Lunch series, Pours and Encores, all for the rookie. And then the opera social for the person that likes really coming, seeing friends, meeting new friends, having a good time, maybe with an adult beverage or two or more. And that's the thing we're having with the, was it Broadway and Bourbon? Bourbon and Broadway.
Bourbon and Broadway,
That's going to be a great event, and something like that.
Or any of the balls, the Operazzi ball.
Well, the Operazzi ball
that's
is coming up in the spring. We also have our big jukebox gala every October. You just finished this past December a really successful glitz and glam fashion show.
That's right.
We really try to have this full palette of events that can be attractive to any member of our community. And I always believe that we have many communities. We have some people that will join us for social events, maybe a bourbon tasting, maybe come to jukebox, maybe to Easy to Love. Opera is not their thing, but that's how they interact with us, and that's great. Which is why we try to have so many options for people, so they can understand that opera is for everyone. And we want to know how do they opera.
That's great. So we don't want to hear, I don't like opera, because there's
No,
something
'cause
for
how do you
everyone.
know? There truly is,
exactly.
right.
You touched on earlier in the Easy to Love concert and in some of the roles, young artists in residence, and that's a very big program for the Pensacola Opera. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it truly is. I think it began in 2003, so I think we're looking at, this is our 16th year, I think. And it has grown from a small program into a 22-week program over the course of our season, where we invite 4 young singers and a pianist to join us as members of our community. And they perform in our schools, in our libraries, all throughout our community. They present these events like the Brown Bag Lunch. They also appear on Jukebox Gala in the fall. They appear in our main stage productions. They are the featured soloists in our concerts, Easy to Love. And then by about the end of March, we say goodbye to them and our 22 weeks are over. And this is just essential training for a young artist. If you think about, where do I go to school? How do I learn to be an opera singer? I mean, a school can teach you about music and about history and about all these sort of things, but we learn by doing. And the actual experience of being up on their feet, performing this wide variety of music, everything from children in schools up to seniors in assisted living centers. So they're having a great experience, and they leave here ready to go to their next level of their career. And we're very proud that many of our past participants go on to careers on stages all over the world and continue their singing, and always credit the experience that they had in Pensacola.
It's wonderful. And during those 22 weeks, they're up very early every morning, going out to the schools, many of which are Title I schools.
The majority are all Title I schools.
And they're putting on a 30-minute opera for those folks.
Right.
And I know that the Who Wants to Be an Opera Star is very popular this year
Now,
as well.
that's one of the new programs, and that's for the middle school audience. And, you know, all of a sudden we turn opera into a game show. We have a game show host. The other 3 singers are answering questions or musical excerpts. The audience is involved, so there's participation. But it does help children who, you know, we don't have a lot of fine art on TV or in media. And let children be exposed to as many varieties of art forms as possible when they are young. So that as they grow, this is not something unusual to them.
Right. And so they're getting exposed to those young artists, and I think many of them might want to go into a career like that after when they hear something.
And they see that it's possible. That here are people that are actually making a living in art. They sing. But a child can see that these are possible career paths for them.
Right. And one other program I want to talk about, we just have a few more minutes, and that's the opera camp, because I know that is very popular in the summertime, and we're talking about young kids getting involved in the opera. Tell us about that opera camp.
Well, the opera camp is a really hands-on, interactive experience. Traditionally, it has been 2 separate weeks, one for the very young and then for somewhat older, you know, middle to high.
Sure.
And we take an opera, often one that we are going to be presenting in the next season, if it's appropriate. But we take an opera and scale it down to about 15 to 20 minutes for the young ones, and then maybe 20 to 30 for the older group. And they create the scenery. They are involved in the creation of the version of the opera they're doing. They do the costumes. They're involved in every element of the production. And they work just for a week, Monday through Friday. And then on Friday afternoon, we invite their parents in, and they perform for their friends.
Oh, great. So they really get to see that there are careers outside. Even if they're not singing on the stage, they could be working in the back with lighting or costumes or
Makeup,
set design.
anything.
Wonderful. Well, Jerry, thank you so much. We want to remind you to get your tickets for the 37th season of the Pensacola Opera, presenting Don Giovanni and El Trovatore. And don't forget about the one-night-only concert, Easy to Love, at the Sanger Theater on February the 13th. You can find out all the information, all the events happening at Pensacola Opera by visiting the website, PensacolaOpera.com, or by calling the office at 433-6737. And we hope to see you at the opera. Thank you.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. Why would you do that?
Probably okay isn't okay. Call a cab, a car, or a friend.
Good choice.